Well, we have them in the fridge. Condiments can help bump up the taste of an easy weekday meal. Joining us to tell us about her favorite condiments and great ways to use them, our home economist, Mairlyn Smith.
Hello.
Well, thank you for getting us to use our condiments, because I once actually had a friend come over and he opened the fridge and he said, "You guys have way too many condiments. We're a condiment family, so we need to use them because sometimes they can sit there for, I don't know, way too long." I will never have you come over to my kitchen. It's just death traps everywhere.
Well, you know, the thing is, if you keep your condiments too long, like, they may not affect you because you're healthy, but if you have young children or somebody who's a senior, or you've got a compromised immune system, you know, you could basically be making them really sick. So there is a shelf life once they're opened. Okay,
once they're opened,
right.
Okay.
So, and I want you to cook from scratch, and I want you to use stuff, but even I'm time pressed, and so when I am, that's when I use these guys to bump up everything and make it easy peasy.
Okay, so this is about flavor. It's about bumping up flavor and using something that's fairly easy that you might find in your fridge tonight. So you can try this recipe.
Right. So these are my favorites. Now, I might not have what you have, but you might have a variation of them.
Okay.
So I like mustard. I think that's one of the best ways to bump anything up.
Yes.
And I like grainy and regular, and I even have like the regular one for you know, hot dogs and hamburgers and stuff, like the yellowy one, because there's turmeric in that, and turmeric is actually an anti-inflammatory, so it's not such a horrible condiment to have.
Okay.
And once you've opened it, you can keep mustard for up to a year open.
Yes.
So a year, you've got a window. Okay.
Good.
And you can store them on your door. They don't have to be in the inside of your fridge. Okay.
Right.
All right. So the other thing I have a ton of is mayonnaise. Different kinds of mayonnaise. Now I use the low-fat one, but I just wanted to make the point of that. You can only have this in the fridge for up to 2 months open. Right. So if you're buying this big one and you're,
like the big gallon.
Yeah, because it was on sale. Yeah. And you end up throwing it away, then maybe the smaller one is a better idea.
Got it.
Okay, so I use low fat, but I also have
because it's eggy. That's why you can't keep it forever.
It's an eggy thing.
It's an eggy thing.
It's an eggy thing. Okay, so the other thing I have is horseradish.
Oh, prickly in the nose.
Oh yeah. You know, my second ex-husband.
Clears the sinuses.
my second ex-husband, one of the funniest thing he ever said was that he had wasabi, and it went up his nose, and he said, "I think I just saw God." Anyway, so
he had no more hair.
No, it was pretty funny. But you know, horseradish, adding that to a recipe really bumps it up. And if you like spicy, I've got a meatball that I actually put the horseradish in, and only 2 to 3 months. So
that's it for the horseradish.
That's it for the horseradish. Okay. Now, when you're looking for sriracha, make sure that you're looking for one that doesn't have a lot of awful stuff in it. Okay, so like really look at your labels.
Yes.
And you know that old thing, if you can't pronounce it, don't buy it. I don't really agree with that, because you know, maybe you just don't know how to pronounce it. Right. But if the list is like really long, you know, then that would be a bad thing. So the smaller the list, like the better it is. But I love sriracha. It's wonderful. Oh, there's Japanese mayonnaise too.
I want to try that.
Oh, you know that okonomiyaki or whatever, I read that name again? That's fantastic on it.
That would be good.
Okay, chutneys are really interesting, and I found a cilantro chutney that I really like, so that will bump up the flavor. And hot pepper jelly, once again, a fun thing. Yes. I ought to be the spokesperson for La Bomba, the Italian antipasto spread that I use on everything. I put this stuff on everything. You know, I mean, honestly.
Give me an example of what you would use that for.
Oh, pasta, tuna fish sandwiches, you know, chicken, salmon. I mean, I really
literally give it a bite, a little heat.
Big bite, big bang of flavor without anything else. I mean, I've got a recipe for that I use with beans all the time. Nice. And then just a little bit of note about tamari and soy sauce. There is a difference. Soy sauce usually has a lot of other junk in it. Look for one that's all soybean, and tamari is a guarantee that there's no wheat in it. So if you're gluten-free, you always want to look for tamari.
Oh, good.
And then I always have apple cider vinegar and balsamic in my fridge too. Did I miss anything? Oh, jams. And there's always jam. And jam not just for toast, okay? Okay. All right, so my coleslaw, every time I post this on Instastory, people go, "What's your recipe?"
Yes.
Okay, so
here it is.
Here it is. Da, 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 da. Equal portions of low-fat mayo and apple cider vinegar, and that's it. And so
that's your dressing.
That's my dressing. My
dressing.
That's good, because that's easy. It's cinch. That's a cinch. Seriously, if you can't pull this off, you need to come to my house for a lesson. Anyway, and then I just dump in cabbage and red onion and toss it up, and that's it. And I don't eat a lot of lettuce, or hardly any at all in the winter months.
Yeah.
I try to eat seasonally locally, and this is all local, so wherever you're living, you're always going to find cabbage and red onion.
Yes.
And then if you want to jazz it up, you can add oranges, pumpkin seeds, dried cranberries, walnuts, and all of a sudden you've got a different version of coleslaw or a red cabbage. Okay, so that was the salad dressing. You don't even need to buy salad dressing. You can make it out of condiments. Right.
Which vinegar did you use?
Apple cider.
Apple cider vinegar.
And look for the one that has, it's called the Mother. Look for the one that is the real stuff. Like it should have some gunk in the bottom, and that's not a bad thing. But look for that when you know you're getting a real fermented apple cider vinegar, which is really good for your gut.
Good for the gut.
Good for the gut.
So now we're gonna make meatballs.
Meatballs. Okay, so meatballs are a lot of work. You know, you've got to put a lot of stuff in. You got to chop stuff. You got to do things.
You got to put gloves on.
Well,
only if you're on TV.
Yes, and then we're going to color our hair. Anyway, so there's that cilantro chutney that I'm going to throw in there, and it gives it a huge. I know that looks like a lot, but it's green. It's just weird. And this is Panko, which is Japanese breadcrumb, and of course, I have to use whole wheat. And then you're just going to mush it up. And I mean, if you don't know how to do that, that's really sad too. So anyway, and then you just form them into a meatball, and they're easy peasy, and they taste fantastic. And my husband does not even like lamb.
Yes.
And he didn't even know it was.
Oh, so you're using lamb.
Beef one is really cinchy, extra lean ground beef. I'm going to put new gloves on. And then I'm using two of my favorite, which is the grainy Dijon and horseradish.
You are.
I am.
Those are going to be flavored meatballs. I love grainy Dijon for like everything.
I do it for everything too. I love it too. And then in the recipe, which is on your website, I say 3 to 4 tablespoons of the horseradish.
Yeah.
Put 4 in.
Do 4?
Yeah, do 4. Like if you're going to be a big girl, you might as well go home, or
Just
go big or go home. Yeah.
Seriously.
So do the 3, and they're wonderful. And I've got all the nutrient breakdowns as well as the carbohydrate choices if you're living with diabetes. So check that out on your website.
Oh my gosh, I can smell it. It's clearing my
Isn't
sinuses.
That great? Are you seeing God? Yeah, there you go.
It's happening. So do you bake those?
I just bake them in the oven, just portion them out. It takes about 25 minutes to go for internal temperature always.
Good.
Always internal temperature, 170 for the lamb, 165 for the meatballs. Don't be guessing and end up in the ER.
There you go. You're such a home economist. Cityline.tv for these recipes. Thank you, Mayor.